If you're stressed about day-to-day spending or unsure about your financial future, you know you need help, but you might not even know who to turn to. In this video, we're going to show you exactly how to know whether you need a coach, an advisor, or both, so you can finally feel confident and in control of your money. Hi, I'm Michelle Kopp, and I'm joined today by one of our financial advisors, Marc Bergeron. And today we're going to dive a little deeper into the topic we kind of touched on at the end of my series. So a lot of times our clients come to us and they're not really sure. They know they need help with their money, but they're not really sure exactly what they need help with, whether it's coaching or advising or both. And so today we're going to talk about that in a little bit more detail. So I'll go ahead and start with kind of what coaching is, what we can help our clients with. So think of coaching more as like day to day, looking at your shorter term goals, like 1 to 5 years. If you're feeling like stress with your money or like that day-to-day spending or habits or making those decisions is challenging and stressful, that's kind of where coaching would come into play. For example, most of my clients, they, make good money, but they feel like they're super stressed out. They don't really have a plan. They kind of been DIY budget system and they don't really have a money system. And so that's where me coming in and helping them, coaching them on having a money system and training their money what to do. That's kind of what I do for like the day-to-day spending. So, Marc, why don't you go ahead and share financial advising, maybe give an example of like a client that you've had.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. Advising looks more long-term, big strategic planning. So like you said, Michelle, coaching is more the day-to-day. Advising looks at making the best decisions now that are going to affect your plan for years to come. So some of the examples that come to my mind are whether we want to save traditionally pre-tax or Roth in an account, or how do we actually go about optimizing your investments so that you can reach your goals sooner. So again, advising is big picture, long-term thinking, strategic decision-making to set yourself up for success both now and well into the future.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great explanation. And I'll just add like cash flow management is kind of primary focus for financial coaching. Cash flow management is one of your topics that you guys go through with advising. And, what I do is helping clients gain the cash flow now that they can do the bigger things, which is what you guys do with investing and retirement and things like that. So, okay, cool. So if you're not really sure what you need, Marc, maybe you can speak to this. Like, what would you say a client maybe comes in with and they're like, I think I need one thing, but I actually need something else. How would you help them make that decision?
A lot of people come to us thinking they need advisory help. They think they need help choosing better investments and just getting an overall plan in place. But if we dig down just a little bit below the surface, we'll find that they don't know what's coming in each month and what's going out in terms of cash flow. They don't have an emergency fund set up. So in examples like that, we would probably at least refer them to you initially, Michelle, because you can help them get that strong foundation that they need to begin earning wealth and building a wealthy mindset first. So that then when they get that foundation, they can come back to us ready to think more long-term strategic thinking. So a lot of people come to us knowing that they need some sort of help and just needing some clear guidance on what that might look like. But other people come to us having a really good grasp of their daily finances. They have a good budget in place. They know what they're spending their money on, but they can't see well into the future. They can't see how the decisions they're making now are going to affect them 5, 10, 15, 30 years down the road. So that's where the advising would come in and say, here are the decisions and here are the recommendations we're making for you in order to both optimize and make your plan better, both now and for your future self.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That totally makes sense. So cash flow, financial coaching, that's when you kind of feeling maybe unsettled and, your day to day feels kind of stressful. And if that's not good, working with a coach. And then if you feel like your day to day is good and solid, but you feel like maybe you should be more intentional thinking and you don't have this plan for, when you're going to retire or an investment strategy, that's when you would go to an advisor. So yeah, that's great. And then thinking about like if someone's kind of doing a gut check and being like, okay, what do I need help with? And honestly, sometimes, our clients have both. Like we have wealth management clients that maybe need a little bit more cash flow help, and then cash flow client or coaching clients that maybe need that long-term plan, and it can go, you can have a coach and advisor at the same time. But what is maybe like a gut check questions that the viewer could ask themselves to say, who do I need, a coach or an advisor?
I think a few questions that they can ask themselves would be, do I have a strong grasp of my day-to-day finances? Again, do I have an emergency fund set up in place so that if anything happened to me, I'd be well taken care of for a good amount of time? Another question would be, do I just feel confident in general in my plan? Am I winging it, or do I know exactly what each dollar that's coming to me? Do I know the assignment that each dollar has that's coming to me? We like to say that each dollar should have a specific purpose. Another question would be, am I sleeping well at night? Am I anxious about my finances, about my future? And I think having either a coach or an advisor come in and say, everything you're doing is really good. You're going to be okay. Or maybe we do need to make these new changes to your plan so that you can be okay into the future. I think any sort of uncertainty or lack of clarity around someone's finances should prompt at least a reach out to see whether a coach or an advisor or some combination of both would make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And you speaking about that, it's also doesn't have to be negative either. Like, oh, it's stressful or, you're feeling unsure, but it could be like, hey, I have extra savings and I want to be doing something good with it. And I want to make goals. Maybe you never thought about long term. And that's where, advising to talk through what are all the options that you could do. You can make an investment account. You can max out your 401k, all of these different things to build wealth. It could be on the positive side too.
A lot of people come to us and they know there's a lot of different tools at their disposal and there's a lot of different options, but sometimes they don't even know what they don't know, so to speak. So having
Mhm.
someone come in and, like you said, really show them all the different options available to them because they've done so much good work up front allows them to, again, even have more peace of mind.
Yeah, that's a great point. Great. Okay. So I think this gives our viewers a good handle on what coaching is, what advising is, and how to know if you need help from either of those. In our next video, what we're going to talk about is if you do already have a financial advisor and you're still feeling this uncertainty and insecurity about your finances and your financial plan, how do you know what should a relationship look like and what are some signs that maybe you need to start thinking about moving your relationship somewhere else? So we're going to dive into that in the next video.